Hey, it's your girl Carmel Jean-Francois coming to you out of the New York City area, owner and founder of CFIT Coaching. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a surprise. Today I'm bringing up this young woman that I met through an audio app, and her story was just so amazing that I decided that we've been in touch for a couple of years now. And a couple of weeks ago, I said, Anita, I would love to have you on my YouTube channel so that we can talk about stuff. Now, she goes by the name of Miss Anita Monique. Sorry about that, Anita. She's waiting to speak to us. Anita Monique. She is the autoimmune bully. So she's a restorative health coach, and she's Dr. Terry Wahls, healthcare practitioner, autoimmune herbalist, and expert. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2016, and she's been combating that since then. She's changed her why me into why not me. And what she's been doing is her purpose. Now, what she's been doing is working towards her purpose. And what is her purpose? It is to empower you to know that you are so much more than an autoimmune diagnosis. You have to learn the disease, learn your body, and fight back. And she's very passionate about this. So she took her power back, and she wants to teach you how to do the same exact thing. So without anything further, she's waiting to speak to us. So here we are. Anita, good evening. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about this conversation because it's much needed. So thank you for having me.
It is much needed. It is. So we're here talking about autoimmune diseases. We're talking about taking our power back. We're talking about how healing looks different for everybody. It's not a one size fits all.
Yes.
And we're also here to talk about cellular DNA testing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we're going to talk about all of those things. But I'm going to ask you first and foremost, Anita, first of all, where in this world are you?
I am in Atlanta, Georgia. That is where I live, but I am from New Jersey, the great state of New Jersey. So I think that is what gives me a little spice, right? A little fight back, because we all know Northerners, no one can tell Northerners anything. We have to figure it out ourselves. Like,
how about it?
Here in the South, they're like, no, just do what your doctor says. I'm like, no, I'm going to figure it out myself. And that's normal up north. So yeah.
Yeah.
Atlanta's home for now, but I'm from Jersey.
Okay, all right. So welcome to CFIT Coaching. This is my YouTube channel, and I decided, I wanna feature you and have a discussion and have a talk. So I want to know, I want to hear a little bit about your story of when you were diagnosed, what you went through there, and yeah, let's start there for now.
Okay. So I was diagnosed back in 2016, right? Newly just turned 30 years old. And then I experienced some symptoms. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Right? It was the most bizarre thing ever. But the symptoms, thank goodness I was in ophthalmology, right? So the first symptom I've ever experienced was something was going on with my eye. So when I was watching it's a good show, right? We were watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Will's face went blurry, and I was like, wait, I don't know everything, but I know his face wasn't supposed to go blurry, right? Or watching the episode. So I was able to march into the office and like, listen, something is wrong. Something is really wrong. And I thought the worst thing the doctor would tell me at that time is you can't wear your contacts. You have to wear glasses. So in my mind, I was literally going over the cute outfits with the cute glasses because that's what I thought he would tell me. And by the end of that visit, the doctor was like, I need you to be further tested because I have suspicion of multiple sclerosis. And I almost collapsed. Like, I am 30 years old. How can it be? So that is the initial something was going on in my body, right? And I wanted to figure out why and what happened. But it was literally July. I turned 30 in June. This appointment was in July. July of the same year, 2006.
Wow. Okay, so that was a shock, yeah, because at 30, you know, the whole world is ahead of you. You're at the
Right,
top of your
right.
game, right? You're like, listen, I got this life thing and I have hopes
Mhm.
and dreams. And now you get this diagnosis
Right,
and it's kind of like it's like now what?
right,
Like life changes.
right.
So how
And
did you deal with it from there?
so that was really disheartening, right? A diagnosis such as multiple sclerosis, if I'm very honest, right? If I'm honest, I was like, no, there's no way. I'm a Black woman. There's no way that this could be my diagnosis, right? And it was. So after the doctor convinced me, I was like, what's going on with my body? Because I didn't feel the symptoms before. Like, if you were to ask me 2 months ago, 2 months compared to when I felt the symptoms, it was day and night, right? The symptoms. So I was like, what is going on with my body? The light bulb went off immediately, not with answers, but just inquiring, like, what is going on in my body? It has to be something that is going on. So that was the initial thing, and I wanted to fight back, right? That same year, or really close around that time, my uncle passed away from diabetes. So I was skeptical about taking medicine for it. I'm not against medicine, but I was skeptical because it couldn't save my uncle, right, from diabetes. So here I am with a multiple sclerosis diagnosis that's way more intense. And I was like, do I want to give them that chance? Right? The only thing they can say is, oops. And that was my life. So initially, it was just to answer your question. It was just literally to get my power back, right? To figure me out again, to put me back together again.
Wow, to put you back together again. So, what
Mhm.
steps did you take? How did you decide to go ahead and put your life together again? Now, you just said that you weren't really trusting the doctors. So,
Mhm.
what route did you take? What did you do? I'm sure a lot of Googling and research on your end took
A
place.
lot of Googling. So I'm going to rewind a little bit, right? So I mentioned that in July, it was my ophthalmology appointment, right? He said, hey, the symptoms that you're experiencing is similar to multiple sclerosis. So he wanted me to go and see a neurologist, right? July, I promise you, July 2016, I couldn't get in to see the neurologist in Atlanta, which is supposed to be the best neurology place of neurology ever. I couldn't get in until November. Like November 11/11 is the official day that I was diagnosed with MS. So between July and November for the appointment, you bet exactly what you said. There was a lot of Googling. So I was like, people that heal themselves from MS naturally, people that did that, and it was Googling. But before I did that, I got myself tested, right? I got they probably took, and this is no exaggeration, 30 tubes of blood because I wanted to figure out what was going on with my body. I didn't understand it then, right? I had no idea. I just was like, I want somebody to tell me something. So I was lucky enough to see a holistic doctor the same exact day that I was officially diagnosed.
Okay.
And that's the route that I wanted to take. Now, if I'm honest, if I have to say this, I didn't understand those things in 2016, right? As it was a lot more detailed than a regular test, but I didn't understand it, right? So I'm looking at the test results, and all of my B vitamins were deficient. But until I became a health coach, I didn't know the importance of a B vitamin. Like, I didn't know it was a brain vitamin. I didn't know that that can affect MS majorly. I had no idea. So I was just waiting for the holistic doctor to tell me, okay, what is it I need to do? And that's a
Can I
huge reason. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I
No,
kind of
no.
meant to interrupt. I just wanted you to, for those who don't know what multiple sclerosis is or don't have a complete
Mhm.
idea, could you just like break it down for us what that is?
Absolutely. Multiple sclerosis is a nervous system disease. It is a brain disorder. A lot of people consider it neurologic, right? Because it is. And it can affect our whole body because your nervous system is literally your whole body. You're walking, you talking, anything can literally be affected. And unfortunately, MS can affect any of those things, right? I know people who are diagnosed who don't have the ability to talk, right? I know the people who don't have the ability to walk, right? MS can do all of those things. It's a fire going on in your body. Anything is autoimmune diagnosed. There's inflammatory. There's inflammation inside your body, which is like a fire. So what I decided to do was figure out what was setting that fire in my body. Like, what in the world was it that was setting my body on fire? And that is what I set out to do.
Wow. And you took the holistic route.
Yes.
Okay.
I've never taken any medicine for multiple sclerosis, right? I pride myself in that, but I also want to be very careful and let people know I'm not against medicine, right? I'm not against medicine. If someone needs to do that, absolutely, along their journey, they should do it. However, don't expect the medicine to fix the problem, because it's not going to fix the problem. If it makes you feel more comfortable and you're working with someone that's going to fix the problem, kudos to you. But medicine will not fix the problem. And that is the thing. That was a hard reality that I was facing, right? I wish I had the reality, or could have the reality of, oh yeah, whatever's going on, I'll just go to the doctor and I can take a pill and it'll go away, right? But that was not my reality, unfortunately. And I've heard some horror stories, right, of people having strokes after the medicine of MS, because it's major. It's all over your body. So it's really, 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 really detrimental and could be scary. But I'm holistic because I was determined to figure it out for myself. But,
oh, right. Okay. So that's incredible. And I don't have words, right? So I really don't. And I've heard your story before, but it's hearing it again is just kind of like, wow, you are a strong woman, no doubt. So how did you go from diagnosis to being a coach? And I think, first of all, I think it's amazing, right? Because I know now at this point, you have a lot of experience under your belt and a lot of knowledge. And you're taking that and you're giving back to somebody who's just trying to figure things out for themselves at this point. So how did that come about? How you becoming a coach?
Okay, so this is the reality of it, and I let everyone know. So when I was doing all the research we talked about, right, I found out a lot of information. And I was like, okay, so I implemented that information. But very silly, what I did, I said, I healed myself. When I got better, I healed myself. I'm all better. And unfortunately, I reverted to the same things I was doing before, right? So if there was a happy hour, I was there. If there was anything that wasn't health related, because that wasn't my life, I was there. And unfortunately, the last December of 2019, so from 2016 to like 2019, I would even say the beginning, I was doing everything. I was so healthy. I was like, I feel so much better. And I did this, and please, no one do this. But I did this. I was like, I healed myself. Let's celebrate, right? Let's do this and do that. And unfortunately, before that year ended, I had a flare, a major flare. I was numb from my toes all the way up to my neck. Like, everything was numb. So I had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn how to do everything again. But again, I was still determined. Like, I was like, no. But literally, I can remember this day. I was turning the key into my apartment, and then the numbness just came up. So it was really detrimental. So the reason why I was determined to fix myself, I learned so many things in becoming a health coach and becoming a Dr. Terry Wahls practitioner, and learning these, I don't want to say simple things, but the way the creator made them, they were pretty simple. I was like, why is this a secret? Why, when we're in school, they teach us what X equals, what Y equals, what Z equals. They teach us about different presidents, how America was discovered, all that stuff over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
But they never teach us about our body. We dissect a pig, but we don't know about our own body. Like, I don't care what's in that pig. Let that pig live its best life, right? What's inside my body? And that is what made me like curious. And I always went to like private schools, the best schools. They never taught me anything about my own health, unfortunately.
And that's the state of America. I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
everybody can relate to you at this particular, like with that statement that you made. Go ahead, you were going to say something. Sorry.
I was going to say that is what made me become a health coach, because I was like, why is this a secret? It's so simple, right? It's so simple. God made these things. It's so simple. Why is it a secret? So I became a health coach to put myself back together, right? It was for me and my health initially. And then I wanted to go public and tell my story to help other people, because I was like, why is it a secret? And at first I didn't want to go public, right? I didn't want to tell my story. And then, you know, I was, a lot of my friends say, you have to tell your story. Your story is attached to someone else's healing. And I never really looked at it like that, right? But that was one of the best things that I ever did, was going public and telling my story, because it's like, oh, now that's out. I don't have anything to be ashamed of or anything to be fearful of.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so when I first met you, you were whole food plant based,
Yes.
and now you're not so much. You're probably
Mhm.
plant based, whole food plant based, but now you're no longer vegan, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Explain a little bit about explain that to me, like why you decided to become
Okay.
whole food plant-based vegan,
Mhm.
and then why you came off of that. I think
Of
that's
course.
really important for folks to know and understand.
So when I was diagnosed initially, there were a lot of malnutrition problems, right? That led to my multiple sclerosis diagnosis. So hearing that, oh my goodness, if you become a vegan, you can basically reverse those malnutrition, right? And that was very, very appealing to me, right? And honestly, I have to say this boldly, right? The vegan community speaks against the meat carnivore community, right? If they eat meat, they speak badly against them. And the carnivore community, right? They speak bad against the vegan community. And I spoke about this earlier. It's a combination of both for certain people. And the reason why I did this is because when you are diagnosed with MS, right? And this may not be everybody's story, but with multiple sclerosis, your myelin is damaged. And what myelin is, it's fatty. It's a fatty covering of the nerves, right? So you need fat in order to repair that, right? I Kale is wonderful. It's amazing. It has a lot of nutrients, right? But it has absolutely no fat. So if I wanted to reverse some of the damage that was done, I was unfortunately and reluctantly going to have to incorporate some fat into my diet. I had to. And I always kind of knew this, right? I've always been a Dr. Terry Wahls healthcare practitioner, and she always preached about this, right? But I just never did that. I just never, ever did it, right?
So
And
when you said never did that, you mean never incorporate fat into
meat,
your diet?
yeah,
Meat.
yeah, I never did like meat. And
So were you vegan before your diagnosis?
no, I was not vegan before my
Oh,
diet.
so you became vegan because of it, whole food plant-based vegan, which there is
Yeah.
a difference.
Mhm.
And so my next question to you is, so why did you have to go back to meat? Why couldn't avocado do the
Mhm.
same, right? Or these other, yeah.
And people say that all the time. I tried that. I literally tried that personally. I was like, avocado, flaxseed oil, all that stuff is going to be good for me, right? But it didn't. It made my blood pressure go low. That's personally my story. But it was low. My blood pressure was low. And if your blood pressure is low, that means your body cannot circulate blood properly, so your nutrients are not being circulated throughout your blood, right? It's not going properly, unfortunately. So that is definitely a reason why I was like, okay, I need to raise my blood pressure over. Now I'm really, really heavy on the fruits and vegetables, right? That is always going to be a huge part of my diet, but I'm no longer like ill. Like if I saw any meat or anything, I'm no longer like ill. I eat it like accordingly to a regimen that I have. And I literally have a regimen and a schedule because it's about building myelin, not necessarily about specific things.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And so was it hard for you to start eating meat again, or was it just kind of like, you know what? This is my life. So this it's a matter of life or death.
You know what? A lot of people scared me and told me that I would be sick if I were to eat meat, right? So I reluctantly ate meat. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to be sick. But like you said, it's a matter of life and death. So I just have to allocate the time and set it aside and not plan anything just in case I'm sick. I was not sick at all. It was like my body was saying, thank you. Thank you, because you were not giving us anything. So it was as if, and I still have to work out and do different things like that. But to repair the myelin, I needed the fat. Me personally, I needed the fat because I exhausted it from my diet.
How interesting. How interesting. Okay. So I'm glad that you mentioned the workout and things like that. So your health regimen also includes exercise. It includes, what else does it include as far as health and wellness and self-care is concerned?
And I'm gonna be really honest, right? I know what I should do as far as working out. I know I hear you talking about it all the time, but it's like learning so much stuff. I'll get stuck in reading a book, and I'll just sit there and I'll be like, okay, I'll work out tomorrow. I'll work out the next day, and I can hear you in the background in my mind. No, you need to work out, but it's everything. It's working out is a part of recovery, right? Nutrition, finding out what it is that your body needs, not just reading a book and just like, okay, this diet worked for me. Will work for them. I'm gonna do the same exact things, because the reality is it may or may not work for you, right? It may work for you, it may not work for you. So I would always recommend to figure out what it is that your body needs. So that's working out, that's nutrition. A mindset is everything. I really believe that stress, right? Stress is detrimental on the body. I can feel it. You can feel, and we live a stressful life. We live in the US. Like, it's stressful all the time. You can be going to work and say, I'm going to have a great day, and somebody cuts you off, stress immediately, right? And
Mhm.
that affects us. I can feel that in my body now because I'm very sensitive to things and I pay attention to my body. So I can feel that 100%. I can feel that stress. So it's a matter of mindset, and that will absolutely get you some. That's a way towards recovery, right? Your mindset, the way you handle things, the way you handle life, because life will happen regardless. It
Regardless.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you prepare for it. It's your reaction to life that is going to be tell whether you win or whether life wins at the punches, because they're going to throw punches, right? That is what life does. So we have to figure out, how do we retaliate to that? How do we fight back if we fight back, and things like that. That's very important. I already said nutrition, mindset, sleep. Of course, you want to make sure you're getting accurate amount of sleep. Your body. I'm gonna say a gem here that a lot of people don't know. Your body recovers and heals itself during your sleep. You don't sleep properly, you don't heal. Period. I don't care if you're eating kale day and night, right? All day drinking it. If you do not sleep properly, your body cannot heal. I have no idea how God made us that way, but He did. We mess up a lot of things, right? We mess up a lot of things. So our body is like, okay, when you sleep, that's when we're gonna go into repair mode. So those things are really, really, really important. And knowing what it is, lastly, that your body needs. You have to give your body what it needs. Some people may need a little bit more movement. Some people may need a little bit more attention on the nutrition, but you have to find out what it is that your body needs specifically and then go from that. So something as detrimental as MS, like that's a pretty huge diagnosis, right? That's the things I did. And I'm very careful with saying the word heal. I am not healed, right? I am not healed, but I'm able to function, right? And I'm able to live life. And I'm very grateful for the ability that I have, right? And I'm able to do those things without medication. And that is huge and amazing. So I know I'm here for a reason. So that is what I want to tell people and motivate them to be the healthiest versions of them.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So when you say that it's not one size fits all, so what were you referring to? Is it I get that what works for one person doesn't work for another, and I felt like because I saw you go from, and I basically was been watching you. We follow each other on social media, and I saw you go from whole food, plant-based, vegan to now you're eating meat. And so I was just like, oh, okay. So I know she must have gone through something, some kind of transition that let her know. Maybe plant-based is for somebody, but maybe it's not for somebody else. Was there a point in time when you were just kind of like, even in your coaching, that made you say, okay, so let me work with the individual individually, and maybe one thing won't work for somebody that worked for somebody else?
So honestly, being a Dr. Terry Wahls practitioner, right? That is something we always knew. I always knew that it took animal protein in order to rebuild myelin, right? So, but I actually told her, I actually was like, I'm going to go about this the vegan way, right? And there was never anything, and even in her book, there's a vegetarian way, but you have to be very careful with the vegetarian approach, right? In order to rebuild it. But it's exactly as you said, there was something that happened. I could see my body kind of wasting away. I always get blood tests and I want to know what my levels are all the time. And although being plant-based was wonderful for me, I can test my myelin and that wasn't repairing, right? And that is honestly the motive, and what I wanted to do is to repair myelin. So that is why I say there's no one size fits all, right? Being the autoimmune bully, if someone's trying to reverse diabetes, which is an autoimmune disease, going plant-based may be miraculous for them, right? It may be miraculous. However, if someone is trying to repair a portion of their body, which is in their brain, which is fat, which is myelin, that may not be the best approach for them, right? And it was a hard thing for me to do because you hear people demonize the other side all the time. So I actually had a fear of food for a long time. For years, I had a fear of food because it's like, if you eat this way or if you do that, there's something bad you're putting into your body, right? And both sides would say the same thing. And I just was like, Anita, you have to step away and do what's going to be right for you, right? And honestly, since I started to do that, I can see my body changing. Like I even mentioned the scrubs fit different than when I was whole food plant based, right? And that's good. That's what I need to do. I need to repair things. It's not to say I will never be whole food plant based again, but if we're repairing myelin, then I need the fat. There were some things that being a practitioner, I was like, oh no, I will never do liver. I'm never doing organ meat. I'm never going to do that. But I do that now, right? I do that strategically on a regimen, right? But I'm just like, wow, it's so many vitamins in there. There's so many things to like organ meat that I was so against before, but it's helpful for me now. So that is why I do it.
I loved how you said it's your healthcare regimen, and how you speak about what you're eating and you regard it as medicine. And we all know that food can be our poison, but food can be our medicine as well. And that's the route that you're taking. You said you're very strategic about it. It's part of your regimen, and it sounds like a lot of work, but I feel like for people who have probably been in your position or have had a diagnosis, they definitely appreciate that, right? They appreciate the fact that you are looking to food instead of pills.
Mhm.
You're looking to food instead of procedures and potions and things of that sort. So I want to say congratulations on having never
Thank you.
taken a pharmaceutical drug to help to combat this multiple sclerosis thing that's happening in your body. So have you had any flare-ups since you've been, you've been going about your medicine and medication in this different way, eating meats?
No, I had no new flares, right? But what we are still doing, and I'm very honest with that, I want my body to be 100% what it was before the flare in 2019. And if I'm very honest, it is not there, right?
Okay.
It is not 100% recovered. But no, I had no new flare ups, nothing like that. And I'm really, really happy about that. But when it made my body numb, it did everything. So I just want to be at a place where I was before the flare, just living my best life and not worrying about it. And maybe this is honestly a part of my journey, right? Maybe the creator is just saying, I want you to teach those people, but you can't teach them from, oh, I study page 743, right? You have to be page at 743.
How about it? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be page 743. And that is why I say I changed my why me into why not me. Because I'm going to be the one to ask the doctors the questions. Like, I'm going to be the one to figure it out, right? I'm going to ask them, I'm paying you, doctor. You're going to answer my questions, or you know what? I'm going to fire you and get a new doctor. And oftentimes we don't know we can do that, but we can do that, right? We can do that. We can get different treatment. You can make your own medicinal team, right? Your medical team, whether it's holistic, whether it's conventional medicine, you make your team wherever you feel comfortable. Because this is what I tell all of my patients all the time. And this is very New Jersey of me, right? But your team works for you. You're the boss. So they're either going to work for you and do things that you're asking them to do, but it's not going to be reversed, right? And if it was reversed, like you feel like you have to do what they're saying to do, it not what makes you feel better. I advise a lot of people to fire that team and get a whole new team, because they're supposed to be working on making you better. Yes, listen to their advice. They see many people with it, listen to their advice, but they never seen it you before. And you have to keep that into consideration. Like, you're you, and then your who you are, and then what their knowledge is. So
Oh yeah, right. They have to see the human being in front of them, because it's not necessarily, you're not a diagnosis, right? You're a human being that has this diagnosis, and you come with different experiences. You come with different things than the next human being comes with. So it's for them to listen, it's for them to acknowledge, it's for them to see who Anita Monique is,
yes.
and treat you accordingly. So I love that. But if you don't mind, I want to switch direction a little bit,
Okay.
because you spoke a lot earlier today. We happened to be in the same space, and you were speaking a lot about the cellular DNA testing. I want to hear a little bit more about that.
Okay. Okay. I think that it's very important. There's so many different ways that people can do it, but this way that I'm going to share with you is less invasive. So what you do with the testing is it's a hair analysis testing, right? So
You did hair analysis?
Okay. You snip 6 inches, right, of your hair, and it will test everything.
Can I test these extensions? Probably not, right?
No.
Well, not extensions.
Your own hair. So you
My
can
own
do
hair.
it during wash day or right before wash day or something of your own hair. And you can do that. And it's amazing, because I'm greedy. And I tell you all the time, I'll tell everyone else I'm greedy. Yes, it does food analysis, right? So it tells you in like traffic light style, red, yellow, green, what you should be eating, what you shouldn't be eating. Sometimes the things we love don't love us in return, right? We may love a certain thing, a certain food, but it doesn't love us. And we know those things a lot of times, but we eat them anyway. We're like, oh man, I'm going to have these fries, but I'm going to get heartburn after. So don't eat the fries, everyone. Don't eat whatever it is that's giving you that. But back to the testing, it does test that. It also tests yeast, which is something that is major that a lot of women suffer with it, right? It's going to test other toxins. It's going to test my favorite and what we spoke about a lot. It's going to test the nutrients. It's going to test your vitamins, and it's going to test the minerals inside your body now, right? And a lot of people don't realize, and they don't know, is that if you're malfunctioning for something, right, it's usually something that's lacking in your body 100%. So I love that. That's my favorite part of the test, is to test and see what's going on, to see what's not working. And this is just a moment of being very transparent, right? A moment of transparency. When I took the test, a symptom of multiple sclerosis that I have, and I always speak on it, is mobility, right? Mm-hmm. So it was hard for my spine was stiff. It was hard for me to be mobile and to get around. And ironically, when I take the test, what I am deficient in is magnesium and copper. And those things are so beneficial to the mobility of your bones and things like that. And it's like an aha moment. It's like, oh, that makes sense. So that is what I'm lacking, right? It doesn't matter of anyone else's page 743. I want to learn the book of me. What is it that I am lacking? And for me, it was magnesium. And there's so many reasons why your body could not be absorbing a mineral the right way. That's a whole nother topic. But I was able to do that. I was able to see that. I'm like, oh, this makes sense. So magnesium.
So this obviously is much more extensive than what a blood panel would give you. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because
a blood panel with, like, it's, I tell all my doctors, tell all my patients, I'm very clear with them. You unfortunately have to speak the language of the doctors to the doctors if you want to understand that test. It's like a secret code that they have. Literally, it really is. I'm not using any exaggeration. But you have to understand, you have to speak their language. What I love about tests like this is like it's in clear English, plain English, just letting you know, okay, don't eat that, but eat this. Don't eat that kale, but you can eat the spinach. Don't eat that. Like, it's letting you know very clearly. Whereas the other tests where you're getting it done, can I use this example? I needed to find out if my kidneys were functioning right? And filtering is very important in healing. I asked my doctor that. Do you know it is not called a kidney test at all? It's called the BUN test. It's called the BUN test. People, how do they expect people to know that, right? How do they expect people to know that? Why is it called that test? Why is it called that type of test? But those are the tricky things that I tell people. Yes, you can definitely. I'm not against people. If you pay for your insurance, you use your insurance, but you have to know the language that you ask them, because if your doctor is just checking your regular test and you're getting a regular blood test, he may or may not check vitamin D. It's just going to be the basic things, right? And you have to ask for the other things. They can provide them, right? But they will not do them unless you ask for them. And that's the hard truth that I had to learn.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, it sounds like it's a food sensitivity test as well. Like a lot, it sounds like it's a lot of tests mixed in one. Like you do this one thing and then you get all kinds of answers. And then it helps you move forward with whatever, whoever your medical team is, right? Okay. And it helps.
Because there's no healing if you're recreating the inflammation, right? So you can be doing all the good things, but if your body says that it does not like a specific vegetable, I don't care if Dr. Sebi said it, I don't care who says it. If it's alkaline, right? If it's not for you, it's not for you. period. If it's not for you, it's not for you. So it could be the most alkaline vegetable ever, but if it's causing a fire in your body, you got to balance everything else out. And that's what I love also. I'll add this about a lot of people may be afraid of food sensitivity testing, but it changes. That's very important to know. This is not an allergy test. When you go to the doctor, if you notice, if you go to conventional medicine, everything is like forever. Like they have nothing, everything is forever. So if you're allergic to seafood, you're allergic to seafood forever. If you're allergic to spinach, you're allergic to spinach forever. That is not the case with this intolerance test, right? It is not the case at all. You are getting everything in balance, right? There are some things that you have to let go for a little while, but then it should balance itself out, and you should be able to get it again in the near future, right? So that is really important that I tell people. You're not going to be without it forever.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. And I'm sure that gives people hope, right? Because nobody wants to give up their favorite foods, even if it's
Right,
not.
right.
Right, yeah. Anita, that was a lot. That was a lot. But I feel like I got a lot of good information from you too. And hearing your story, hearing what you went through and what you're still going through, and the fact that this is going to be a long time battle for you.
Right.
And I don't want to say battle. I don't want to say
Right.
battle. Journey, right? And in the process, you're helping other people. Just like what you said, your journey is somebody else's healing. So so you're doing amazing work. Whenever your posts pop up on my Instagram feed, I'm like, oh, there she goes again doing her thing. And I love seeing that. Um, I'm whole food, plant-based, vegan, and I still feel like it's one of the best things, resources that we have. And I understand, though, it's not for everybody. I get that. And I'm not the vegan that looks down on carnivores. I'm not that person. Different strokes for different folks, whatever people feel comfortable with, and whatever. Respect me and I'll respect you, pretty much. However, I do feel like there's a lot of healing. And I appreciate the fact that you're still heavy plant-based. You still have a lot of fruits and vegetables in your diet.
Yes.
And you strategically incorporate the meats when you need it for a specific purpose and a specific reason. And I appreciate that aspect of it as well. So I just want to wish you well. So before we say goodbye, I want to ask you if there's any parting words, something that you want to share with the folks that are listening, and also where can people find you and work with you?
Okay. The message I want to leave with everyone is to take your power back. We give our power away way too often, all the time, right? It's like you go to the doctor and definitely appreciate their knowledge, right? But if they read something on the chart for you, you just let them manifest your life if you're accepting that diagnosis. So, what I want to motivate everyone to do is take your power back. Figure it out. It's your life. It's your decision. I don't care if they went to school for 20 years. What are you going to do? And I'm not saying get rid of that doctor. Right? I'm not saying to do this alone, because you cannot. Trust me, I tried, right? Doing it alone, you cannot. You definitely want to have a team, right? But take your power back. Give yourself some credit, right? You know you the best of everyone that you're going to hire, right? So let that be a conversation that you have with professionals, rather than disregarding how you feel, right? You're the most important person in your life. So take your power back, and that is definitely going to be my message. And I like to talk about things. I like to learn too, right? But I'm forever a student. But I always like to talk to my clients and let them know that too. And I always want people to know it doesn't matter where you are in your journey, right? I'm not perfect at all by any means. I'm not perfect. My back still gets stiff. I still have bad and hard days, right? It's not like I eat a piece of liver and eat some broccoli and it's like, oh, I can do anything, right? It's going to be an ongoing journey forever, right? And you get better and better each day. but I just want to inspire people that never give up, right? Never give up. And I am all things the autoimmune bully, right? Even have this my scrubs on now, the autoimmune bully. So I have a website, www.theautoimmunebully.com. You can find me there. On Instagram, theautoimmunebully.com. You can find me there. Facebook, all of that stuff, all the social media things. You can find me there. I am going to be a little bit more present, right, in a lot of things because presence is needed. And there, you can get wrapped up and lost in studying, but presence is needed because people need to understand they're not alone, right? They're not alone. There's no such thing as perfection. And that took me a while to understand on my journey because you have your idea of life. And then God has this idea of what He created you for, right? And sometimes those things don't match up. Honestly, they don't match up. And we're like, God, we have a problem. Like, God, there's a problem. And God, like, no, there's no problem. The only problem is you, right? Get out of your own way, literally. So that is everything that I wanted to share. I want to tell people to motivate them to take their power back. There's information that I have of what type of tests you should be asking your doctors for. I post all type of amazing things like that. I just posted a video on my social media about just representing my personality, right? I'm like, they told us year after year what X equals. I don't give a dang. I don't care what X equals. Right? I want to know what I need my body to live my best life. So all things autoimmune bully, and I really wanted to let people know they're not alone. So follow me there, and you are sure to be informed and educated. And it's a little spice too, a little spice flair. So you'll definitely get that too. You'll be entertained.
I love that. And Anita, you've inspired me completely. You made a good point as you were closing out there. You said that this is lifelong for you, but it's going to be easier, right? And so many people, I don't know if you went through this, maybe you did, like they'll throw their little tantrum, like, why is this my life? And you did actually say, you said, you turned why me to why not me. And you understand that it's your calling, and for whatever reason, God put you here so that you can guide others towards the same light that you're seeing, right? Because it could be a very dark place to see, to be diagnosed with something that you can't really find a cure. You just have to make the symptoms better. You have to make life as comfortable for yourself as possible, and you have to be intentional, and you have to be consistent. And that's a lot to ask of someone, but I think you're doing an amazing job. I love your presence on social media, and I love the fact that you agreed to come onto my YouTube channel with me. Thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. I admire you a lot, Carmel. Like, you are very inspiring, and you always motivate me to move. And I'm like, you should be doing that. You know better. But I always hear your voice saying that. And I love what you do, right? You're telling people to move. And that is a part of healing that a lot of people don't even pay attention to, right? Until they want to lose weight, right?
Right.
Lose weight. I know you get that. But that is a major part to healing. It's movement is a major part to healing, because the reality, if you want to get the toxins out, you got to push them out. You got to move them out. So that is why movement is everything. So thank you so much for having me, Carmel.
Yeah, you're welcome, Anita. Thank you. And maybe sometime soon we'll get together again just to see how you're doing and how your clients are doing and all that good stuff, and talk about maybe some things that we didn't get a chance to talk about.
Absolutely. I definitely think that's a great idea. And even incorporate some movements, right? That you could, maybe the autoimmune bully and Carmel, we should CT Fitness. We should definitely team up and do that, honestly, because
I love that.
We need movement. We need that. Sometimes it's people look at things and are like, oh, she's not like me. She doesn't understand. She wouldn't understand. So I admire what you're doing. And I think that what you're doing can inspire other people and motivate other people when they need to move. So maybe everyone can look out for that in the future.
Maybe we'll have to talk about that one. I'm always open to it. I'm like, what? You want to work out and we can record it? I'm down. I'm always game.
Yeah.
All right, so you have a beautiful evening. For all those of you who watched us live tonight, thank you. And for all those who are just watching this here on my YouTube channel, thank you. Check out Anita Monique, the autoimmune bully, living her best life, even having been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And she's still got that beautiful smile on her face, and she's guiding other people to smile as well. That's huge. So keep doing the important work that you're doing, Anita. You are doing God's work, and so just keep it up, because people need you, and so many lives are being saved and healed because of you, through you. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Carmel. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I'm going to sign off now. Bye, everybody. Oh, don't forget, everybody, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I would love you more than I already do. Ciao, ciao.